Ya comienza Artistas All Over the World con Verónica Alegre. Encontranos en IGTV y en YouTube.
So hello, we are in Artistas All Over the World, and today we have an international interview with Isaak Gracia. He is an actor, director, and a writer. How are you, Isaak?
I'm good. How are you, Veronica?
Very, very good. And now you are in Madrid.
I am in Madrid, yes, because so I was in Mexico, but then I had to come to a visit, and then the COVID happened. And because all the COVID crisis and everything, I had to stay in Spain, and then some work came in Madrid, so that's where I am now.
So, Isaak, did you start working first as an actor, then as a writer, and then as a director? How was the order there?
Well, actually, I started working as a dancer in Madrid.
Wow!
I was a dancer for many artists and TV. I worked for David Bisbal and Rosa, who is a big singer here in Spain. And then I was doing more like TV shows and things like that. And then when I went to musical theater, that's when I changed from dancing to acting. And that's when I started studying at Arte Cuatro, which is an actor school. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was, and then as an actor, at the same time as a hobby, I was doing my own videos, writing my short films and everything. But then in Los Angeles, I took it a little bit like a step forward. So I started like doing bigger films and web series and things like that.
So but you are Spanish.
Yes, I'm originally from Spain.
From Spain. Okay, perfect. And when you were a dancer, you dance classical or many types of dancing?
Many types. I did mostly like R&B, commercial, jazz, modern jazz, but a lot more like the one you see on the music videos. Mm-hmm. So it's more like R&B, funky, commercial, that kind of stuff.
And now you dance or not?
No, not anymore.
No, you don't miss that because, you know.
I miss it a little bit. I miss being on stage in front of, I don't know, like 10,000 people, 20,000 people, because it was such a good feeling.
Yeah.
But not really. Like that was a period of my life that it ended and gone.
Yeah, because I think it's hard. I have many friends that they are dancers, and it's hard when you are growing up because it's not a career for all the years. When you're growing up, you need to change, or maybe you become a teacher.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, because your body, you start getting a lot of injuries. Like I started twisting my ankles, and I broke a little bit of my leg on the muscle, and yeah, your body starts saying, "Hey, you might be a little bit too old for jumping around." And,
but then, when you began to train as an actor, yes. I think you have some positive thing, because you already working with your body. So for an actor, it's so good that or not?
Yeah, it is important. And also the emotions, because when you are dancing, you are acting. Mm. I mean, you're using your body, but if you're dancing something happy, you are, feeling the happiness. And if you're dancing a piece that it's very sad or it's a drama or something, you are also acting that. Maybe not with words, but with your body. So the emotion is kind of the same. It's always there. It's just a different way to express it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And do you remember which one was your first job as an actor?
As an actor, actually, it was a TV series. It was called Punta Escarlata, and it was a really good series. It went really good. And then I did Águila Roja. That was another TV series, very popular here in Spain. But yeah, it was not my first job of the very beginning, which that was a commercial with Antonio Banderas for a perfume. That was my very first job that I had in Madrid. But that was more like dancing. And then, yeah.
And how are the castings for actors? Do you prepare for your castings?
Yeah, absolutely. So they usually send you like they call it sites. It's like one scene or two scenes from the character, and they send you a description of the character. So I start learning the lines, because it's very important to have the lines memorized so you can play on the audition. And then on the other side, you do like a breakdown of the scene. So depending on what's on the scene, you start figuring out what the character is about. And then you need to fill the gaps. So you made up stories and a backstory of the character. So you kind of create that character for the audition. And you propose something. You might not be where they're expecting, in terms of you might choose this character is like this, and they are imagining the character in a different way, but it's really important to bring something, to bring a proposal, let's say.
That's very good. Do you remember one casting that you said, oh, it was so good? Because, you know, sometimes you go to castings and are equals, but then you feel, oh, yes, I do it.
Yeah, there are many of them. There's one of them that I did in Los Angeles for a film, and the director really wanted to see me, so I went to the audition really well prepared. And like I said, if you memorize the lines really well, when you're in the audition, you're very comfortable and very relaxed.
Yes.
And you can play a lot. So I decided to play a lot and take a risk. And it went really good. The director loved it. He wanted me to do one more take, and I took it even further. And I took more risks and the direction from the director. And then I was the last person that they were auditioning. So they came outside, and they told me, they gave me the job straight away, like that same day. So right after the audition, they say, hey,
you are the one.
This is you. This is you. This is for you.
How
so,
nice.
Yeah,
and so you lived in Spain, and then you went to LA, to Los Angeles, to...
Well, I went to London first.
I was in you live in London.
I lived in London for 2 years before going to Los Angeles.
Because there are a lot of industry in London. They are filming a lot of series, or not?
Yes, they are. There's a big industry in London, because London is like the bridge between the United States and Europe. So a lot of productions from the United States that they want to shoot in Europe, it goes through offices in London. Actually, they have Pinewood Studios. It's like super big studios. They do a lot of like superhero movies from Marvel. They shoot it there. A lot of big movies. They do it in London, and a lot of series as well. So, and a lot of theater, which is great.
A lot of theater, yes. And you have a very, very good English and a very good pronunciation. Where did you study English? During a lot of years.
I studied in Spain, but then when I was in London, so every time I went to a new city, like in London or Los Angeles, I went the hard way. So I didn't try to make friends from Spain. I was trying to make friends from that city. So at first I was having a bad time. Maybe I was going out with few friends, and we were sitting at a table, and I barely understood anything what they're saying, and I had nothing to say because I didn't know what they were talking about. So I had like really bad times. I learned it the hard way, but I learned it really well. And then when I went to Los Angeles, I started working on my accent, the American accent. So I was working with Bob and Claire Cobb. They're really good accent coaches. They work with, again, with Antonio Banderas, with Ana de Armas, with a lot of actors that they want to work in the accent.
The accent.
So, yeah.
Okay. So, and in London, how did you do to survive? I mean, in a monetary thing, because you know this lovely profession that is acting and all related to art, sometimes not enough to pay the rent.
Yeah, absolutely. I did everything. Not everything, but a lot of things that it wasn't things that I wanted to do. I know there was a time in Los Angeles when I was doing a lot of theater, and the theater in Los Angeles is not very popular. So you don't make a lot of money. You have to work somewhere else. So when I was doing for a year and a half or a year, I was doing theater, and I had to be a taxi driver, or I was doing web series, or I was doing films, and because they were not really well paid, and Los Angeles is very expensive, maybe I had to work pouring drinks on parties, or things like that. Like sometimes when you start on a new city with a new business, until you get to know everybody, and then you start getting work and everything's fine, but until you get to that point, you must be willing to to do other type of work.
And how is for a Spanish actor how was to live in Los Angeles? Because there are a lot of competition there, or not?
Yes, there are a lot of actors. Like when you're in Los Angeles, everybody around you, absolutely everybody, is an actor, a director, or a writer, or a producer, something in the business, or a makeup artist, or works on wardrobe or something. You go to a bar, and all the bartenders and the waiters and waitress, they all are actors and actresses. That's like 100%. So yeah, there's a lot of people, but there are also a lot of opportunities and a lot of people willing to do the work. Like, let's say you have an idea. It's really easy to find a writer to writer, a director to director, a producer to producer, and put a team together with almost no money to make that project happen, because everybody is really hungry of work. Everybody wants to do things. So it's really easy to put a project, going.
But then suppose, yes, of course, these are like independent projects that you can do it for free. But then you have the chance to go to the castings, or the castings, you think they are close, that they are not that accessible, maybe.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of everything, because in LA, or in United States, it's very well organized in terms of they have like databases and websites where they put pretty much every audition that is happening, every project. You can always contact the casting directors if you're very polite, but at some point you really need an agent. So the first 3 years that I was in Los Angeles, I was with no agent. I was doing auditions, but the projects were smaller. And then at some point I got an agent, and you can have like different agents in LA. You can have a commercial agent, which is going to send you auditions for commercials, theatrical agent for auditions for TV and film, then a voiceover agent for voiceover, which I did a lot as well. And it works a little bit like that. So at some point you need an agent.
Is it work to get an agent? Because it took you like 3 years to get contact to an agent.
3 years to get an agent. Yeah, that is the hard part a little bit. But some people, maybe they find an agent as soon as they get there. But for me, it took me a little bit. But it wasn't my priority. Like, my priority was to start doing films, even if they were doing like small films, just to get, going.
Because I heard one actor that said nowadays, you need like an agent, because you have the social media, it's supposed, I don't know, Instagram and whatever, and maybe you contact directly to some casting director. But of course, not everybody are going to answer your question, no? But
No,
I think it's more accessible maybe nowadays. With
it is. Yeah, with all the social media, and usually the casting directors are open to receive emails. Like you can contact a casting director. He might not be able to reply, but I mean, but you can get a job. Like they can see as soon as you do the work. It's not like emailing every casting director that it's on the city. It's more about following up on projects, and maybe you hear about this project that is going to happen, and then you know that there's a character that is good for you, and then you write to the casting director and you tell him, hey, I know you are casting for this series and there's a character that I think I fit perfectly, and then you send in a picture with your reel and everything. So it's more specific. It's not just like sending your material and say, hey, I'm here. Because they get thousands of those emails.
Yes,
thousands.
yes, I can imagine that. And coming back to the acting training, because I love this. I'm also an actress, so that's why I love it to ask this. Which one of the acting methods do you like most? Do you use once, or maybe you mix something? Which one do you like?
Well, I started working more with Stanislavski.
Okay.
More in the but then the more you study, you see that there's Stanislavski, but you can go on Lee Strasberg or Stella Adler that works more with imagination. And then I started with, doing a lot of work with Meissner that I like a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, and Chekhov.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point you realize that you need everything. Like the more tools you have more opportunities to do the work. Because sometimes you're doing a film and you have a lot of time on set to prepare and to get yourself in place. But sometimes you're doing a TV series and you have literally 5 minutes to do the work. So how do I get in 5 minutes with all the process? Maybe you have to do a different method. Maybe you want to work with the actor and repeat a little bit and do a little bit of Meissner so you connect with the actor and then it works perfectly. Or maybe you want to do something physical that is going to get you to the point where you need to be emotionally. And then you work a little bit more with Chekhov for that. Or, like at some point you want to learn everything. And there's so much to learn. Like the more you learn, the more you feel like you have to learn. And you learn from other actors on set, that you see others actors process and you see how they do the work. And you just keep learning and having all the tools. And when you have your toolbox, you are more ready for whatever you need to do. So, so I would say that I love them all, whatever works in the moment.
But I see that you pass through many methods, so you train a lot because you know it. Yes.
Yeah, and I love it. It's the process. I mean, I love the process of creating a character. I love the process of trying to find the emotions that you're gonna need. So you kind of, because some people say that, but why do you have to think about whatever so you can cry and blah, blah, blah. And it's not really about that. It's that you do the work when you are training. Maybe you're thinking about that person, but it's just so you find emotion in your body and you know what it is. And then when you have to work, you can access like really quick. It's not like when you do the work, you're going to think about that person. When you do the work, you know how to access that place instantly. And then boom, you go there. And it's much easier. But you have to do the training.
And you did some movies with like action movies that you were like, I don't know, using an arm and everything. Did you train that, or did they supposing that in the movie they train to you these scenes or not?
Yeah, usually when you have to do weapons, I mean, for training like sword and things like that, you can do like other workshops. There are also workshops that they teach you how to use certain weapons, but Usually when you go to a series or a film, there's a stand coordinator who's going to tell you, hey, you got to put your shoulders like this and put the arm like that and keep your finger out until you're going to press it. And it tells you, how to move. Or if you're going to play a policeman, you might have someone from the police department who's going to come on set and tell you how you should, take your arm and move and look and cover it against the wall and things like that.
So it's training. And if you weren't an actor or an artist, because you do a lot of things, what profession would you choose?
If I wasn't, you mean?
Yes. If you weren't an artist, what profession?
Oof. It's hard, but probably I would love to be an activist because I like that a lot. Actually, I do it on the side sometimes when I have opportunities to create projects for many purposes. Other than that, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't see myself doing anything else. I don't see myself doing anything else. But probably something that has to do with making the world a better place, I think.
And for example, for you to dedicate to write stories for your films, how do you do that? Do you start with some idea, or you have a group that you write together?
Yeah, usually there's something that happens in my life that gives me the idea to write about it, and there's always a message. So first there's the message, and then there's a story about it. So I don't know, for example, one of the last films that not the last ones, actually, this is like 4 years ago, but it's called Last Strike. It's about baseball. So I was thinking, I don't know why, I was thinking, what's the last thing that people think or say before they die? So I started doing a research. And I was finding like really beautiful stories about people about to die that they would tell to the parents or the family members. So there was this man from somewhere in the United States that he told his grandson that his last wish before dying was to ask him to make a home run on baseball. So the story is a little bit about that.
How nice.
That story really touched me. And so I wrote about it. So it usually happens something like that. Or maybe I'm listening to the radio and then I hear something. They say, I know there's a lot of people dying because blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, oh my God, what about a story of someone who's dying about that? Just to try to get the message to the people. There's always a message on my film. It's something I want to tell.
So I was going to ask you that. So it's something that you need to give a message to the people, but you don't think, suppose, I don't know, this is going to be working for the public or not?
Yeah. So the way it works is like, okay, so this is the message I want to give to the people, right? So I did this film in Mexico called Taxi. The actually cinematographer was from Argentina. So I was on a taxi, and then the taxi driver told me that he was working for to bring the kids to school, blah blah blah, but that he was getting robbed many times on the taxi. And then on the other side, I hear a lot of people that they talk bad things about the taxi drivers in Mexico. They say that the taxi drivers kidnap people and blah, blah, blah. So there's a bad thing about the taxi drivers in Mexico. And then I met that taxi driver and he gave me the other side of the story. So my idea was to try to tell people, hey, not every taxi driver is that way. And there are a lot of taxi drivers that they have, they are working and they're exposed. Like they have the money with them. Like they get robbed all the time. and they are parents that they just go to work 12 hours to bring food to their homes, you know. They're exposed in the taxi with nothing to defend themselves.
Yeah, it's a very hard work.
Yeah. So once you have the idea, then you think about, okay, so let's think about a story that people is gonna like. Not like people is gonna like, that people is gonna make them understand the message. And then depending on how much money you have, because if you need money from outside, you might have to do little things differently, just so it's more commercial. Some people say, but if you have all the money to make it, then you can do it, you know, the way you want to do it. And then it becomes more independent because you are not depending on studios, you're not depending on a TV channel or anything. You can do whatever you want.
In which countries did you film your own films? You said Mexico?
Yeah, in Mexico, in Los Angeles, in London, and here in Madrid. Yeah, those are the 4 places where I've been doing most of the work.
And how do you do to select the crew, the people that you work with?
Yeah, usually it's really funny, but usually it happens in a magical way. Like you get to, it's true. I mean, you get to know. So I met someone who introduced me to Mariano, who is the cinematographer from Argentina, and then he knew some people and blah blah blah, and you start, like, it works that way. Then there are also websites where you can try to find people, and then you ask around, or maybe when I was doing films in LA, maybe I put a message on Facebook, hey, I'm doing a short film and I need this and this. Do you know anyone? And people always tell you, hey, I got a friend who's interested. She's a makeup artist.
Okay. And then when you finish your movie, you present it in some films, in some festivals.
Yeah, that's the whole point, is to showcase it and bring it to festivals, so you get awards, so people listen to you. And then when you do the next film, you can tell them, hey, so I did that last film. He was in that festival and this other festival. It went really well. So they trust you and they trust their money to you. So, yeah.
Do you present in a lot of contests? Contests is the word?
Yeah, a lot of them all over the world. Yes. So we got a distributor from Venezuela, and they are the ones that are sending out. They're trying to find festivals every month and sending the films all over the world, everywhere.
So this is like a distribution.
Yeah, that's the distributor. Yeah.
Distribution. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And which director is your reference? You have one or two?
I have a few. So this one, Alejandro Amenábar from Spain, that I like him a lot. Because the way he puts emotions on visual, it's very. I think he finds a really, really special way to connect with the audience and to bring emotion. I really like that. But since I was a kid, I used to watch a lot of Steven Spielberg movies. And some people say that he's very commercial and things like that. But I think that he has that ability, that gift to make you dream. To every time I watch a Steven Spielberg movie, most of them, it connects me with my inner child. And I really like the way he moves the camera and the way his imagination works. I really love that. So it's a big influence for me, those two directors. Yeah.
Your films, when you film in English? or in Spanish?
A little bit of everything. I mean, the last 10 years I was living in Los Angeles, so everything has been in English. But last year I spent 6 months in Mexico, so I did it in Spanish. And so but mostly in English. I usually write in English because I think there's a little bit more of outreach. Like it's easier to reach everywhere.
Yes. I did an interview to one Italian director, and he said that it's better to film in English because you have more possibilities to show your film.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have to put the subtitles, which is okay. But I like English language, so I can write pretty well. So it works well.
And do you have one advice for some young teenagers that they want to become an actor, director, or a writer? That you have been through many movies.
My very first advice would be work hard, because this is a marathon. This is not 100 meters race. It's a long marathon. So sometimes it looks like you are not moving forward because you're working and you put in all this effort and nothing is happening. Maybe for years, and it looks like it's not happening. But if you really love it, you will keep doing it, and you will keep doing it. And then at some point, some people, when I was in Los Angeles, they might tell me, "Hey, you're gonna make it." And then at some point I was like, hold on, I feel like I made it already. So the moment you decide that is what you want to do for the rest of your life, and you start doing the work, you made it. Like you don't need to make $100 million budget movie, or to get an Oscar, or to get whatever.
It's so nice what you said. It's so nice. I like your phrase. I made it. Yeah. So what it means to make it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Maybe I'm doing like low budget films and theater. Maybe someone is doing community theater in the small town, and they doing theater, and maybe they have to do some other jobs to keep going. But they doing, the moment you are doing what you love, that I think that means to make it. The moment you're doing what you really love, I think it's very honorable. And yeah, like I said, if you're doing theater, community theater, you're not making a lot of money, but you are gonna do it the rest of your life because you love it so much, even if you have to go on the weekends and work in the bar. But you're happy, you're doing what you love. So that person made it. Doesn't need to, to get on a big show in TV or anything. That's okay, good. But sometimes you make those big TV shows and you feel empty after doing it, because maybe you go to a big TV show, but it's, big TV shows, when there's so much money, there's like a machine, and you go on set and you want to do it. The director, sometimes they don't even direct you because there's so many things in their head. So they might go to you, "Oh, hi, you are blah, blah, blah." So yeah, okay, good, boom. And they don't tell you anything else, for the whole day. So yeah, you make the money, people see you, they recognize you on the street, and they will say, "Oh, you're the one, blah, 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 blah." And that's kind of somehow fun, but it's nothing really. It's nothing like when you are doing a theater play, or you're doing your own film, and the way it feeds your soul.
And did you start to write and direct as a complementation as an actor or not?
Yes, so I'm doing everything. Like I keep doing it. Now I'm in Madrid. I'm doing a TV series as an actor. But on my free time, I'm writing. And I'm writing a film that I want to shoot in Mexico, maybe in a couple of years or a year. We'll see, depending how COVID goes. But I'm always doing everything at the same time. And as soon as I can, I want to shoot a short film here in Madrid. I want to do something pretty soon because I'm kind of hungry of directing. So.
It's like the actors need to have like 2 or 3 projects at the same time.
Yeah.
It's so usual that on actors.
Yes. I don't like to have the energy just pointing why like that. I like to have the energy always like moving around and connecting with people. And maybe you're making a lot of money on TV, and then someone tells you, hey, I want to do a short film, but I don't have a lot of money and I can barely pay you whatever. And then some people, they're like, okay, because I'm doing TV and I have money, I don't want to do that. But I think it's really good that you do a little bit of that as well, just to move the energy around and be a little bit more flexible with the energy around you, And if you have the opportunity to do a theater play, even if it's not going to give you money, but it's going to feed your soul, it's going to, give you new things that you're going to be able to use later on, and other things. So,
Okay, and this is the last question, and I'm going to ask you 2 things because you live in Spain and also in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what do you like most from Spain and from Los Angeles?
Okay, so what I like most from Spain is the fact that I have my family very close and my friends, and also the food, because I think Spain has really good diet, like Mediterranean diet. I think it's very healthy. And then from United States, I also have really, really good friends, but I really like the energy of getting things done. So when I was in Los Angeles, everyone around me, it was, like I said, it was really easy to put a project together because everybody was like, boom, let's do it. And you, even if it sounds crazy, like I think that's what they call it, the land of the dreams. It has to do a little bit with the mentality of thinking big and think that is possible and going for it. So that's something that I learned in Los Angeles about. Okay, so you have this idea, you can make it happen. No matter if you are by yourself and you don't know anyone, you're gonna go and you're gonna meet people and you go for it and you make it happen. So that attitude is something that I really like from California, really, because I know that in the States they are like different
places. Yes, but in LA is the best place for actors.
I think so.
LA, New York, and Chicago. They are the 3 points for actors.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, it is, and it's just New York. And Chicago as well. There's a lot of theater. So if I wanted to do theater someday, I will move to New York to do that. But for film and TV, it's mostly LA. Even though they're shooting now outside because it's very expensive to shoot in LA. So what they do is like they put the project together in LA, but they go somewhere else. Maybe they go to Atlanta or Boston, or they go to other places that are cheaper to have a tax break, like they get the taxes back, like 20 whatever % back and things like that. But Los Angeles is very expensive.
And now you said you are filming in Spain nowadays.
Yeah, I'm doing a TV series right now.
How is the protocol for actors during COVID?
The name of the project?
No, the protocol for actors. For actors during COVID, working on COVID,
Well, you have to do a PCR before going, one of those PCR tests to make sure that you don't have it. And then when you're on set, you have to wear your mask all the time. And when they give you a bottle of water, or they give you the food, it's everything contained. They wash their hands, they give it to you. It's not like you go with a plate or anything.
How do you film with another actors? Do you have like 2 meters from distance?
At that point, that's where you do the PCR. That's why you do the test, and the other actor has done it as well. And you just gotta trust that, you know, the other actor doesn't have it.
Is there a kiss for actors nowadays on film?
I guess. I don't know. I haven't got any kiss on this series, unfortunately. but I don't know how's that gonna work. I mean, if they have PCRs, I mean, even if you do a PCR, maybe you went in the morning to have coffee somewhere, and maybe
exactly,
you can and blah, blah. But the possibilities are really low. And, you know, you try to be very responsible. And I know that in some productions, they don't let you go out. Let's say if you're going to shoot a lot of days, you go from home to set, They take you to one place to another, and you are not allowed to go to the street, or you're not allowed to meet people, because they want to make sure, you know, because if one actor has it,
it's terrible.
It's gonna stop the production.
Yes.
And it's sometimes in millions of dollars. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give us your social media and tell us your next project? So if you have something online that people can see it.
Yeah, I have everything on Instagram, which is Isaak Gracia. It's Isaac, Isaak Gracia. Isaak Gracia, Gracia. So that's my Instagram, and everything is there. I usually put all my projects or things that I'm going to do. My production company, it's there as well. Delphis Entertainment, which is a production company that I do projects with. And yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for the interview, and I hope you can put your films here in Argentina soon. Sooner.
I hope so.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the people who see us. You can see our program in IGTV and on YouTube. Thank you.
Awesome.